Welcome to Career Essentials, where we give you honest career guidance and beyond. And today we have a special guest that is Kyle, and we're going to talk about speaking to the camera. So, Kyle, welcome to Career Essentials.
Thank you for having me, Chira. It's good to be here, and I'm looking forward to this insightful conversation we're about to have.
Yeah, so I've met Kyle actually through an online platform, and it wasn't like we connected over social media, which we did. However, I saw Kyle compete in the Toastmasters evaluation contest and actually won it this year for the district. So that's UK and Ireland. Kyle is the champion of the evaluation contest. So congratulations for that, Kyle.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was interesting because obviously usually these contests, they are in person, but we all kind of had, I mean, you were in the speech contest as well, Chira. You had to adapt to online, how to present, how to use your room, lighting, camera, all of this stuff. And I think it's something we're all going through now as well in our work, whether that be presenting on Zoom or creating videos around our business. We've all just had a huge learning curve to overcome, haven't we?
Absolutely, absolutely. I've just had to adapt, especially with that speech, just to adapt it from a stage to speaking to a screen and in this frame. So that was an interesting experience. But Kyle is an expert in this and also helps people with improving their confidence on stage, communication skills, and a whole lot of amazing stuff. But today we're going to particularly talk about how to effectively communicate or speak to the camera, because we can see more and more of it with what's going on right now, and it's only going to be more used more. So Kyle, let's get straight to it. What are your top tips, and what can you share to our viewers on speaking to the camera?
Certainly. So let's start off with the basics. So the first thing you need to do, and this is an absolute must, is you need to actually look at the camera. How many people do we see in our Zoom meetings who look at the screen, because, and I get it, because you want to see the information down here so that you can see people's reactions and expressions. But the problem with that is it's kind of the equivalent of looking at someone's neck if you were speaking to them in person. There's something a little bit odd like what I'm doing right now, isn't there? But if I look up at the camera, if I make a connection with you like I am now, it's a lot more appealing, and you can sort of build that trust and rapport a lot more. And the other thing, which is also very critical to consider, is how active you are making this screen, okay? Because you're not in the same room as the other person. And that makes it even more challenging to hold their attention. You will notice yourself, Chira, when you speak in person, there's almost an onus on the audience to listen to you, isn't there?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when you're speaking to camera, they could be doing anything at all. They could be raking the fridge. They could be playing with a dog. You don't know what's going on the other end of that camera. Absolutely. So to keep their attention, activity is essential. So how do you keep your screen active? Well, naturally, gestures are a great way. That makes the screen moving around a lot. You can potentially move around on your chair if you like. Think of your facial expression as well. You don't want to have a blank, emotionless face. You need to smile a little bit more. You need to show the emotion that you're feeling on your face. Keep the activity level high. Even if you have a PowerPoint, because I know a lot of people are keen to have a PowerPoint on their Zoom meetings, that's great. But just make sure you flip in and out of your PowerPoint. One of the most boring things is just a still static PowerPoint screen, which is just getting flipped through over and over again. Hop in and out of that PowerPoint. Show the screen for a bit, then hop into the big screen like me and Shira are on right now. And just little things like that, keep it more engaging for the audience.
Wow, that was some powerful stuff right there. Would you say, with regards to being active on screen, is that synonymous with breaking patterns? Because I've been doing some YouTube videos on my channel, and one of the things I've noticed is breaking patterns. You've got to be breaking patterns. That's how you keep people's attention. Would you agree with that, Kyle?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Let's talk a little bit more about that, the video side of things then. So you will see, like on every TV show, even your most popular YouTube videos, the scenes are always changing. Like Shira just said there, breaking patterns. Like for instance, for 1 second, I'll be presenting here, and then there'll be a sharp cut, and I'll be over here. And it's things like that which hold the attention a lot more. It's variation. And look, there's variation in voice as well. We know how important that is. You need to vary your voice in terms of your speed, your tonality, and your volume as well. But breaking the pattern is a great point you brought up there, Chira, for sure.
Nice. So when it comes to being prepared, I help help students and professionals with like job interviews and stuff, and I tell them, look, there are some non-negotiables, things like you have to prepare for these things. You have to do your complete research. You got to do your due diligence, which is just 100% in your control. When it comes to speaking in an online platform via Zoom or webinar, speaking to the camera, what are the things that are always in your control that you can prepare when it comes to? Is it things like lighting, your positioning, eye level? Is it these sort of things that you can prepare for, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely. You can prepare your setup, and you can also prepare for your presentation. So let's talk about setup first of all. Yeah, lighting, it does have its place. It is important. So you want to make sure that you are well lit. You do not want to be underexposed. Let me try and demonstrate a little here. That makes everything now is a lot darker. I've switched off the lights nearby me. This is not, darkness is a synonymous with, evil, right? So you don't want to be coming across like that. You want to have more light when you're presenting. It makes you come across a lot more friendlier and approachable and transparent at the same time. But also you don't want to be overexposed. So let me give you a demonstration of that. This is overexposure. I'm even whiter than I usually look, and that's hard, by the way. So, these are things you need to think about when it comes to your lighting as well. It's a good idea to have 2 lights at the side of you while you're presenting, I think, as well. Also think about your camera position, right? So you don't want your camera to be too low and so that you're looking down on your audience. It creates a weird power dynamic, and you might be able to see up my nose. And you also don't want it to be too high either, because then I'm kind of begging for your approval. So we want a nice level playing field between you and your audience, kind of like just how it would be in conversation if you were in person with someone. So these things in your setup, you absolutely can control. You can control the audio and the video quality as well if you want to make an investment, but we'll leave that for now. Now, on the presentation side, it's actually a lot easier to prepare for presentations online than they are for ones in person. Why do you think that would be, Chira? Just to put you out there.
Well, presenting online, I suppose, I guess you don't have to worry about connecting with other devices and mingling with projectors and having clickers. You've got the screen right here, but you're just one click away from your cursor to open up your slides, and you've got the convenience of moving in and out of slides and talking swiftly. So I suppose access to your slides and having everyone's attention, it's either your face over the slides or it's just the slides, as opposed to mingling around with projectors and trying to manage the audience's attention. Because I find that tricky. You're doing a presentation and you're walking around the stage, you've got to position yourself in such a way that you've got access to your device and it's not in the way of your communication with the audience. And you've got, ideally you need a clicker, and you don't want to be walking up and down the stage and sort of being interfering. And at the same time, one of the tips that I use is having blank slides. So just when you want the attention to come off the slides and onto you, just flip to the blank slide, and then now you got the attention onto you, and then you can just continue with your delivery. So that is what comes to my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's certainly part of it. You control the setup a lot more and the attention of the audience to an extent. But what the best thing about this is you can basically replicate the same situation you're going to face on the day. Now, in public speaking, you can't really do that because there's that extraneous variable, which is the audience before you. You can't control if they laugh, right? You can't control if they enjoy your story. You can't control the questions which might come up straight away. But when you're speaking online, you can mostly control these outcomes because you can sit down in the chair you will be sitting in, talking to the camera you will be talking to, and running through the slideshow you will be going through. You can literally replicate the same situation because you won't even see the audience mostly when you are presenting online. So practice, right? Run through your presentation at least 3 times before you do it, because those little run-throughs help you see if everything's flowing and if it's in sync, and it can help you make adjustments as well. You can use the record feature, which we're using now on Zoom, and you can watch it back, which has a bucket loads of value as well. There's so many different things you can do to prepare for this environment.
That's interesting. I never really thought of that, how you just take away that subjective element of how the audience would react and so on. You just eliminate all of that, and you can just replicate like for like situation and just practice it through. So that just gives you a massive advantage when it comes to online
Yeah.
presentations.
But I will put a caveat to that in, and it is this. I think even though it is an online environment you are presenting, you should still encourage your audience to partake. You should encourage your audience to be very interactive. You should be asking them questions. You should be giving them little activities. You can use breakout rooms if you want them to do groups. You should give them opportunities to express their viewpoints, because the more you can draw people into this environment and get them involved in the presentation, the more they're going to learn overall. So there is a caveat to that, but overall you can control more of the environment than you ever could speaking in public, that's for sure.
Wonderful stuff there, Kyle. One of the questions I've got is, in this case, especially if you're doing a speech, let's say, and people are at the comfort of their homes, so they could be having coffee, they could have their family with them, might have kids running around, they might be stroking their dog, they're in the comfort of their homes.
Yeah.
How critical and important is it that you come across warm? I from my experience, especially going through the rounds in the contest, I just feel like you've got to come across warm, because everyone's sat there comfortably. They're just comfortable. They're in their own homes. They haven't driven to a location. They're not sat in a business seminar type environment. They've not put on their suits. They haven't got their notepads out. They're sat at home. They might have their coffee in their favorite mug. And how critical and important is it that you come across warm?
Yeah, it's important in every presentation, isn't it, to build that rapport, and maybe even more so when you're online, because you don't have that human connection of standing in front of each other, and it is important. So there's a few things you can do. Once again, it comes down to eye contact, looking directly at the camera, smiling. We all know a smile is synonymous with being warm, welcoming, approachable. All of these good connotations are attached to it. It shows that you want to be there as well, which is a big thing. And also think about, with your gestures, having nice open palms, right? This gesture of showing the palm of your hand is synonymous with trust. You think about it, people go to court, what do? They raise their hand to make an oath. If you're surrendering, what people do, put their hands up to show that they're unarmed. They mean no harm. Another example, let me think for a second, would be if you went to the fridge and something was missing, say the Jaffa cakes were missing, and someone pointed to you and said, "You did it," and you said, "No, I didn't," right? You put your hands up immediately. And that is a gesture that is just ingrained into our subconscious. So you can take advantage of that in your presentations by showing your palms more. Give people as much information as possible with your body language, because that is how we make snap judgments anyway. So think about using that when you are presenting.
Using your palms, that's very interesting. I didn't really think of that one on an online setting. Very insightful.
Yeah, for sure.
What are the big no-nos? What we mentioned about lighting, we mentioned about looking at the camera instead of looking at the screen. What are these some of the other no-nos? What you think is like an absolute no, you shouldn't go there?
Yeah, okay, so let's talk about that. Maybe also distance control as well. You don't want to be too far away, because number one, you can't really make out my face too well, and it's harder for the audio to be picked up. So you need to be close enough so that you can be heard, but also so that people can see the expression on your face. It's a bit more personal when I'm closer. But once again, I don't want to be too close, because then this becomes quite terrifying. I mean, I don't even like to look at myself that close. So it's about having that distance control, that you can be clearly seen, but you're not infringing in people's privacy as well. That, what I mean? It's kind of like a space invader if you come too close. I guess you can look on it like that. So that is a big thing, I would say. Also, going back to my point about interaction, if you're doing a presentation which is longer than 10 minutes online, you need to get the audience involved. So if I was just talking to you all the time, that is going to get very boring very fast. No matter how much I vary my voice, how active I make it, you're going to switch off. But I need to find a way to reach out a hand and put it out to you and get you involved in this presentation, because then you're playing an active part in the experience. So think about doing that. Do not just lecture and talk to your audience all the time. There's too many distractions. You're competing with too many things. So that's another big no-no, I would say as well. We spoke about the lighting. I think that's all of the big ones, Chira.
I really like that interaction things. I think you've got a good few options here. You can give them a call to action. You can get them to say, grab a pen and piece of paper, make some notes here. You're going to find this super insightful. Or you can say things like, feel free to interact with the Zoom interact features like the thumbs up or the clapping, or feel free to leave a response in the comments below. I think those are some interesting ways where the audience can interact with you, and even the rest of the audience. You can see what other people have commented, or what they've said, or how they reacted to the speech or whatever you're delivering. So that was
absolutely. I mean, you've got a lot of great tools on here. Personally, I mean, of course you want everyone to be on mute while you're on your Zoom call, because you'll hear all the background noise and you hear some weird things sometimes, but do encourage them as well to unmute and speak, because just hearing a different voice can help with that level of engagement as well, is what I would say.
Okay. Sounds good. I think we covered so much stuff when it comes to speaking online, and I'm sure you can use this in the years and decades to come, because we're going to be seeing more and more conversations and meetings, webinars, speeches, speech contests being held on an online platform, and it's absolutely critical, and it's important how we adapt to these new platforms, and so that we can be successful in these kind of settings and with these situations. So Kyle is an expert when it comes to communication skills online, presenting, delivering. Where can we find you, Kyle?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just type in my name, Kyle Murtagh. Second name is spelled Murtagh. You can look at my website, confidencebydesign.co.uk. Lots of information about my services on there. And there's YouTube as well. I post YouTube videos weekly, public speaking tips, also speaking to camera tips. Once again, type in Kyle Murtagh. There's not too many of us out there, so you should be able to find me.
Sounds good. What I'll do is I'll leave all these links in the comments below, so that you can be one click away from accessing Kyle. And can you give me a little insight on your website and your bigger vision with regards to confidence? Is it Confidence by Design?
Yeah, Confidence by Design. Yeah. So the reason I called it that is because I like to believe I'm helping people find their confidence when they're speaking, because you will have experienced this yourself, Chira. It really does feel almost like a superpower when you learn to actually enjoy public speaking, because it's the highest form of communication. If you can speak well in public with confidence in front of 100 people, going to a networking event full of people you don't know, all of a sudden it's just not that bad. Having difficult conversations, they're just not that bad, because you've already set the bar so high. So that's the reason behind the name. And I help people through one-to-one training. If they've got a presentation coming up, I can give them critique on it, make adjustments, pretty much what I did in the evaluation contest. So I have the credibility for that to make it as good as it can possibly be for their presentation. There's team training as well. I work with organizations. I do keynote speaking too, but there's not too many audiences out there now. So virtual keynotes. And also I run webinars and workshops as well, and you can find all of those details on the website if you'd like.
Sounds good. Fantastic. Some amazing stuff there. You can access Kyle and book in a one-to-one coaching session, or attend one of his webinars, and check out some of the other services that you can get Kyle to help you with. So once again, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining us today, Kyle.
My pleasure.
I hope to meet you in person sometime soon. I know we had a lot of interactions online. And maybe even feature on your YouTube channel, or have you featured on this channel again at some point in the future.
Absolutely. We'll make it happen, Chiro. We'll make it happen. Glasgow to Manchester. It's going to happen.
That's right. Okay, brilliant. Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kyle. Once again, this is Career Essentials, where we give you honest career guidance and beyond. Today, we covered the importance of communication skills online on a virtual platform. Feel free to share this with whoever you think that's going to help benefit from this. Share it on social media platforms. Send it over to your friends who's going to benefit from this. And you never know what difference they're going to make. So this is Career Essentials, where we give you honest career guidance and beyond. We keep things real. We keep things raw. These are the kind of content that we wish someone told us. And that's why we've developed these platforms, so we can help you become better. Always remember, you are amazing. subscribe to our channel, and I'll see you on another video.